Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alice and this channel is called Alice's Life. I have just bought a brand new camera. It is the Canon EOS M100. So if you like the quality, please give it a thumbs up because it was a good investment but a bit pricey. So hopefully it's going to really improve the quality of my videos. I'm just not sure because my face is literally so white, it's nearly as white as the wall, and I'm not sure if that's just because I haven't seen any sun or because I need to sort the camera settings out. But anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and it's going to be all about what I read in November. The first book that I read this month was called Clap When You Land. I wanted to like this book because I've heard good things about it in the media. However, I just got really confused. I got halfway through the book before realising that it was written by two sisters and they were writing every other chapter, which I should have been able to work out from the front cover because they were obviously two sisters, but I don't know, I just wasn't focused. And the whole poetry, prose rather than proper sentences, really, I don't know, I just couldn't engage and stay focused in the book. But it was good to see the cultural differences between the sisters' upbringing and their relationship, but I didn't get into it because of the poetry. I read a book called The Missing Hours. So this was published very recently in September 2021. It is a revenge thriller and it's all about a wealthy, popular female student in America who gets raped at a party, and the video starts to circulate and she becomes friends with her Christian housemate, and it's interesting to see the choices and the decisions made, and I suppose it's a bit relatable in this day and age, and it's also like Me Too culture. Yeah, so I did actually like that book. I read a book called Big Girl Small Town, and it's all about a girl in her late 20s and she is on the autistic spectrum, but she doesn't seem to know that, so she makes lists, and each chapter the heading is one of the lists that she doesn't like or does like. A pre-warning is that there is some masturbation and sex talk, but it's interesting to see the divide between Protestants and Catholics. I've been trying to read a bit more Northern Irish fiction and some fact books to learn a bit more about the culture, and it's interesting. Well, I don't know, I find it a bit hard at the start because it's written in a sort of dialect, so the words aren't spelt normally as you would in English. They're spelt as the way you would pronounce it with her accent. So that was a little bit weird, but I got used to it. So she has all these autistic rituals that she goes about her day doing, and an alcoholic mother, and her father's disappeared, and she's just working in the local fish and chip shops, which is a bit of a dead end job, but there isn't really a lot of hope, so there's like an undercurrent of despair running through the book, and I suppose the final ending of the book is a bit of a cliffhanger, because you don't know what's going to happen next. I actually did like that book. Well, next I read Boys Don't Cry by Tim Grayburn. I thought it was going to be a good book, but I just couldn't get into it. It was just too laddish, and I didn't find it educational or enjoyable. I can see why some people might like it, probably boys that are teenagers. They might find it a bit more relatable, but he didn't actually focus that much on his anxiety or depression. It was more about like how many girls he'd slept with and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know, I kind of was going off topic, but I don't know, it just wasn't my kind of thing. I thought it might be a bit more educational and interesting. Yeah, it was just a bit lightweight, not much on anxiety or depression in the book. Then I decided to read something a bit more light-hearted, and it's by a Welsh author and it was published earlier this year. So it's called Is This It? And it's all about a girl from Wales, and she's kind of like wasting her life away. I think she's 30 or early 30s, and she's working in a pretty much dead-end job, and then she decides to go and do teacher training, and she's on the hunt for a boyfriend. She downloads a dating app. Oh, like it's meant to be like a Bridget Jones style book. It's just a bit tedious, not funny, didn't enjoy it, try and get through it. I don't know why I keep putting myself through these sort of chick flicks that aren't entertaining. Like some chick flicks can be entertaining, but didn't like. Next I read a Christian book, and this is called Grow a Christian. I bought it in a Christian charity shop last year, and it's been on my TBR to be read list for a year and a half. It's just a bit hardcore because it's Christian books and it's got a lot of references, which is good. And a little bit of a weird thing is I don't understand why they need a picture of a chair with this much gap between every single question. Just seems a little bit pointless and a waste of paper, being the eco-conscious person that I am. But I don't know, it's a good book, it's going to live on my bookshelf, it's a good reference. Ideally I should memorise the book, but I don't know. It's only 118 pages, nice and lightweight. It was published in 2011, so it's a little bit out of date, but not really, because the Bible's not really going to go out of date. So I would recommend this if you want to learn more about Christianity, and yeah, a good reference. I read a book called Everything That Makes Us Human, and it was written by a Pakistani paediatric neurosurgeon. Yeah, so a brain surgeon for kids. I do actually like these medical books, and it is highly rated on Amazon. I checked, it's 78% of people have given it 5 stars, which is pretty good. I gave it 4 stars because I thought he was a little bit bolshy and arrogant in some areas. Also, pre-warnings, it's a little bit gory, but that's to be expected. A good book if you want to have a book to put you off having kids, because like, imagine having a kid that gets so ill or is like terminal. And I don't know, I thought the legal part was interesting, like a parent that wanted to take her kid to Germany to go and try out alternative treatments, and then sort of legal processes and things to stop people doing things like that. That was interesting. Yes, I did like that book. I wouldn't really rush back to reread it, but it was a good book to look at what a neurosurgeon does and how amazing NHS in the UK is. Okay, then I read The Shelf. I thought it looked good. It had a nice front cover. It's kind of like Love Island, Big Brother vibes. Reality TV. I don't know, why do I put myself through this? It was like a chick lit, not believable. They kind of were going into a house and trying to compete to see who could be the best girlfriend or wife. So who was the best wife material? Well, it's just tedious. I was like skipping bits, like skim reading bits, because it was just so dull. Like, nothing really happened. I didn't relate to the characters. I don't know, just all round not a good book. I read a book published in 2019 by Mim Skinner called Shale Birds. So it's written by a woman that was working in a female-only prison as like an art creative teacher and also a bit in the chapel, and she includes some really interesting anecdotes and insights because I hadn't really thought about what it was like in a prison before. I don't really know many people that have been in prison either. So it was really interesting, like, I don't know, like whipping up sanitary products to make snow at Christmas to get the cotton wool. I don't know, there was some really interesting bits there, a bit I'd probably remember for a long time. However, I didn't really like the perspective because she was coming from a very privileged background, and some areas did seem very judgy. Also, the writing style was a bit bizarre in parts. I couldn't really follow what was going on, so it wasn't a great storytelling. And then I've also read things that it's actually unethical because the woman often like leaving the prison, they might only be in for a few weeks, so they weren't actually able to give consent to the author that was writing this book. So for that, I've knocked off stars because it's not ethical. And I've actually read a review on Amazon and someone said they can actually recognise 2 people obviously from the book. Even though all the names have changed and some details will have changed, people in those circles will be able to work out who people are. So like, that's not ethical, and it's just a generally judgy book and not great writing style. But I haven't read much about that subject area, so yeah. I read a book called Unfinished Search by Eames. It's a very hardcore and intense book written by a bishop that worked during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. I've been trying to learn a bit more about Northern Irish history because as I went to school in England, I learned absolutely zero that I can remember. Although the peace process in Northern Ireland happened during my lifetime, so it's actually quite recent, so I thought it might be a good idea to learn a bit more about the Catholic and Protestant divide. So there's Unionists, Loyalists, and they are Protestants, and there's Nationalists and Republicans, and they are Catholics. And it was interesting to see, because this bishop was working and he had a very important role, because church going in Northern Ireland is much higher than the rest of the UK. So it's really interesting to learn a bit more about the Troubles from a Christian perspective. And yeah, I took a lot from the book, but it was just very hardcore going, but that's to be expected. So thank you for watching this video. I've only got one more What I Read This Month video left this year. So if you like this one, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to be notified about the next one. Bye.